Okay, what I'm going to endeavour to do here is demonstrate beyond any shadow of a doubt that the tickover issues I've been having on this machine are connected to it actually being in motion, and also something to do with the velocity stacks, I would say, and I'm going to prove it, or try to. At the moment I'll have to set the camera up at a funny angle as well to hopefully see the clocks a bit better, but at the moment you see we're ticking over at 14 or 1500 RPM there quite reliably. I can set it to tick over more slowly. I can set it to about 1100, but then the machine is more likely to stall on move, as I'm hopefully about to demonstrate. We'll go up the road from here to what I call the triangle, so that we've got a hill to come down first of all. Pull the clutch in. We've stalled. Okay, that's stalled there. Bear with me. Stalled again there where I clutched it with the throttle closed. Right, now then, what I'll do, stick it in a neutral, and just wait here a moment. There we are. Right, we're ticking over at 1500 RPM, or just under actually, probably between 13 and 1400. Now what I'm going to do, set the camera up so hopefully you get a better view of the clocks. I've come up here to get a bit of altitude. Not because I think it'll affect the carburation, but I need it to pick up some speed. What I'm going to do in a moment, it probably won't work from here. There we are, we're rolling at about 25 miles an hour, and the tickover has dropped a little. And as we're picking up speed, it's dropping further. Now it's dropped down to 1000. I'll pull in here, try not to let the engine stop, and as we slow down, tickover speeds up again to 1500. Now we'll go down the steeper part of the hill. watch it here. Right, we're ticking over at about 1,000 and we're doing 30 miles an hour. Watch this though. What I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to stop again. There we are. Now we're back up to nearly 1500 RPM. Now I'm not going to use the throttle or the gears. We're just going to roll down here. Keep an eye on that rev counter. Right, we're getting up to nearly 20 miles an hour. We'll be going a bit faster in a moment. There's the bus. Dropping. Dropping down nearer 1,000 now. 1,000, right. There we are, back up to about 1,500 again. I'll just repeat that, because I stuck it into gear when I didn't really mean to. Turn around here. Right, ticking over, there we are, back up to 1,500 RPM. I'll just get a bit of initial movement on. Right, 1,500 RPM. We're picking up speed, the revs are dropping. About 1,000 to 1,100 RPM now. Right, I'll leave the gears and the throttle alone. There we are, 1,000. Well then, as we coast to a halt here, back up to 1,500. I'm going to get off the bike, discuss a theory. I think it's all connected to the turbulence in there and these velocity stack bell mounts. And I reckon as we're going along, obviously under normal circumstances when you're using the engine and the gears, it's not really noticeable. But if you happen to be in neutral or with the clutch pulled in and the throttle shut, coasting, the engine struggles to tick over. Now, I've tried to sort of, in the past, make things so that the engine will tick over at about 1,000 RPM when you're coasting, but the trouble is, you do that, and you're going between 1,500 and 2,000 RPM, static. Yeah, that stopped the engine. We're doing about 50 miles an hour there though. Yeah, the engine stopped again. As long as the engine doesn't stall as I'm slowing down to come to a stop. Let's see what we got. Yep, back to a tick over as I thought. Yeah, that snuffed it out. Just managed to hang in there, it dipped to about 800 and came back as we slowed down a bit. Yeah, we got about 1100 RPM on there. So we'll come to a stop here. There we are, back to 1500. Let's get rolling. I won't touch the throttle, the clutch or the gear lever, we're just rolling, okay? See what happens as the airspeed increases. Here we go, starting to drop. Make a bit of a liar out of me this time. Here it goes, yeah, it's going down. Only a little this time. We go about 1200, there it goes, yeah, down to about 1100 there. As we come to a stop, yeah, back up. There we are, and as we come to a stop, back at the 1500 RPM or so. So hopefully that might sort of prove my theory that our tickover issues and stalling that we've had are to do with perhaps when you're moving along and come to a stop quickly, or if you're coasting along at 20 miles an hour or under, you might just get a tick over anyway. At higher speeds through the air, regardless of RPM, throttle setting or whatever, chances are you shut the throttle, you're not going to have a tick over. And I think that the culprits are very likely to be the velocity stacks. I got back on to ride it back home, but I'm not going to do that because we got those traffic lights down there. It can be a bit of a pain, although I know I can hold a tick over while I wait at the traffic lights. It might be feasible, possible even, to set a slower tick over and know that it will be reliable at a standstill. I might do that, but I think that's definite proof that there's something going on there turbulence wise that's knocking the revs back at Tickover when the bike is actually moving along. I suppose one last thing we could do actually, we'll switch it off, switch it back on again, we'll put it on the centre stand, see if we can get a no throttle. It weighs an absolute ton, this thing. I'll turn the bike around, make it easier to get on the centre stand, and we'll see if we can get a start out of it straight into a Tickover without having to give it the throttle. I think that'd be a nice way to conclude the experiment. Let's see what happens. I will hold the throttle just for stability, but I won't be opening it. There we are. Actually north of 2000 at the moment. Well, I had to throw that little spanner into the works, didn't it? But basically, I think it's quite a hot day. We've been stopped in the lay-by for a little while, hot. I'm going to leave the Tickover screws alone now, because I know that when you're actually riding this bike, or coming to a stop at a junction or whatever, it's running well enough, it's ticking over well enough under normal circumstances, and it might all improve if I took the velocity stacks off, but I might even do that. But the owner's seen my videos and he seems happy with it. I reckon any final sort of improvements might be gained by getting those velocity stacks off the carburetors and maybe just putting normal bell mouths on them, or even a standard Commando airbox if one can be got. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it. I think I've proved my theory about the bike moving along and the air turbulence, which is what I wanted to do with this video.